Okay, so get this right. Today, we're diving into this Daily Beast article, and it's really laying down a heavy accusation.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they're saying that basically all this talk about violence increasing in America, well, they're putting the blame squarely on Donald Trump.
Hmm. That's a pretty bold statement to make. I mean, to come right out and say that, there's got to be some serious thought behind it.
Right. And they go deep, like way back. I mean, they're connecting things like, get this, hurricanes, even how FEMA responds to them. They're linking that to like Mad-GA, conspiracy theories and all that.
It's interesting that connection they're trying to make, you
Yeah.
know? It suggests this whole pattern of using crises, any crisis really, as a way to stir things up, create division. Not exactly a new tactic in the political playbook, if you think about it.
Yeah, no kidding. And they're not subtle about it. Just directly quote Danielle Moody. She's one of the co-hosts from the new Abnormal podcast. And she says, get this, Trump thrives off chaos and wants nothing more than violence. Like, wow, are they allowed to say that? I mean, that's a pretty serious accusation to level at someone, even a former president.
It's definitely attention grabbing, that's for sure. But to be fair, to really analyze a claim like that, we have to zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture. They seem to be suggesting that this has been building for a while, that you can trace it back all the way back to when Trump descended that escalator in 2015.
Right.
They're implying that his entire political career has led to what they're calling an all-time high in political violence today.
So are they saying his whole time in politics has just been like one long fuse burning towards some big explosion? It feels a little too, I don't know, convenient. Like they're connecting every bad thing that's happened straight back to Trump without considering like anything else that might be going on. Although, to be fair, they do try to back it up with some specific examples.
Yeah, they bring up things like what happened over in Springfield, Ohio, and unfortunately, the rise in violence against Asian Americans during COVID. Those are serious situations, no doubt. And the article definitely implies that these incidents are directly related to, like, Trump's words and the policies he pushed.
Right. But that's where things get a little iffy for me. How can we be certain that those events were influenced by Trump, or if they were just things that were going to happen anyway?
Yeah.
Feels a bit too easy to just point the finger without really looking into it further.
You hit the nail on the head there. We always have to be so careful not to mix up correlation with actual causation. Just because something happened while he was in office doesn't automatically mean he caused it, right? Like, take that Springfield thing, for example. Were Trump supporters really behind it, pulling the strings? Or is there something more to the story? And then you've got the violence against Asian Americans, a terrible thing. Sure, some people say Trump's rhetoric played a part, but others argue it was more about broader societal issues that got amplified by the pandemic, all the stress and uncertainty. You've got to look at all sides.
Absolutely. Asking those tough questions is key. It's so easy to get caught up in connecting the dots quickly, especially with how much the media throws at us. But real life is messy. It's hardly ever that straightforward. It sounds like to truly get a grasp on the violence we're seeing, we have to look beyond just Trump, as tempting as it might be to pin it all on one person.
Definitely. While the article makes its case, we can't ignore other perspectives and research. Like, is there data showing a clear spike in violence that lines up perfectly with Trump being in office? Or were there similar trends before he even came along? And what about the elephant in the room? Social media. It's like this massive echo chamber these days, making even the most extreme voices sound louder.
It makes you wonder if, without realizing it, we're all part of the problem somehow.
It's a sobering thought, for sure. We all share the responsibility of encouraging respectful conversations and thinking critically about the information that comes our way.
This deep dive, it's really giving me a lot to think about, that's for sure.
Mhm.
So for our listeners out there, what's something they could explore further based on what we've talked about today?
You know, I think it would be fascinating to dig deeper into the role social media plays in all this. I mean, we know it can spread divisive rhetoric like wildfire, but to what extent does that translate into real-world violence? It's a question worth exploring.